My name is Val. I'm a CEO of Boost, and today I want to start with a really brutal truth. 87% of tech companies are setting my money on fire with an outreach that never really converts and never has a chance of converting because there is no strategy. And it's not really because they don't work too hard, or it's not because they don't have the right tools, but because they don't really understand the game that they're playing. And today I'll show you exactly why this happens and how exactly we can flip this. And I remember once I audited the SaaS company spending $25,000 monthly on outreach. And they thought that their problem was the volume. And honestly, back in 2020, probably that was the problem, but it doesn't really work anymore. So when we ran the numbers, 93% of their emails weren't really hitting any inboxes. So they were not getting any replies. And that's like literally like shouting in the stadium with a microphone off. So what we really see now is the math that nobody really wants to do. Winning companies are pulling 300% on the conversions. They're sticking 150,000 in pipeline from the same channel. Their competitors are saying that it's already dead. And the losing companies are spending 15 to 30,000 monthly on failed email campaigns, most of which don't even get delivered. So that's about a 180,000 gone in 6 months. Same channels, same tool set, but completely different frameworks and playbooks. And think about it in this way. So if you have 95% of emails getting 0 replies, this is the same thing as hiring sales reps and say 95 out of 100 don't really work. So the question is, would you keep this team or no? So this is exactly the question, like, why do you treat your emails like this? And I've lived on both sides. I worked with companies all over the globe, scaled businesses across all sectors, and I've seen $50,000 email mistakes that literally made founders cry. And I've built $1 million wins for global companies and turned struggling go-to-market teams into rocket ships. So in the last few years, I've built go-to-market systems for hundreds of companies, including some of the good brands that you see on the slide, and turned around literally turned around the campaigns with 1% response rate and generated over $50 million in pipeline just through the email optimization. And I'm not saying this to brag or anything. I'm just saying this because I want you guys to know, when I call this a bad play, it's not based on any theory. It's based on me being in the trenches, and it's literally a scar tissue. So when we audited 100 tech companies, the annual waste that we came across was about $2 million. And think about it. It's not because there's lack of a hustle, but because the cost per lead balloons to up about like $412 on average before the optimization. So 55 to 60% of marketing spend vanishes completely, and 95% of cold emails never get you any reply. So my take is, either stop doing email and focus on referrals, or focus on hiring a head of sales, or do it the right way. This is like a quiet tax on growth. No line item in your QuickBooks says, oh, this was burned on outreach, but it's literally there. It's hidden between the lines. It's hidden between, in all these campaigns that we're failing. So if you don't understand your ROI, if your handoff points, you don't understand your handoff points or your campaign impact, and you don't track the data and you're just running it, burning it through cash and just doing the generic outreach, you are literally inefficient. You're just burning through cash, and you either stop it or you understand how to do it and do it right. So It's not cheap anymore to run outreach. It used to be 10,000 contacts and it used to work, but it's not anymore. Because what your failed campaigns are really costing you is it's not just the tool spent, but it's also the salaries and other things, right? So it's also the opportunities that you never get to speak to. It's also your reputation on the market, and imagine all those leads that you never see or speak to. And one founder told me, "Oh, our SDR did not book any meetings this quarter," which is pretty crazy. And like on average, we looked at the statistics. Sales development representatives end up working like 1.5 hours on average because they don't have the systems in place. The sales, like typically there is no process for beginning of the day, middle of the day, end of the day, no proper training in place. And the real cost of it all is not just the person who sits without converting or without booking the calls. The real cost is not even the 20,000 that you spend on tools, payroll, and stuff like that. It's really that opportunity loss. So 200,000 in the pipeline that you never get to pitch to. This is the real deal. And it's really like the campaigns on average, 1 to 2% conversion rates are still losing up to $50,000 annually. It's just opportunity cost. But think about the staff time, the tools, the wasted effort, all these things. It's like typical team racks up to 78,000 in direct cost just to run broken campaign. And if your email platform is say $200 and that's a month, right? Your list tool is $300 and you've got 2,000 worth of staff time weekly. It doesn't really sound huge, but if you stack that up, you end up with like $70,000-$80,000 gone per year. And that's a junior executive assistant, or say your next big hire that actually can move the needle, right? So benchmark tells you one thing, you're looking at the reality, it tells you another thing. Industry reports say that you should hit 15 to 20% open rates with 5 to 8% conversions or reply rates. But when we were running audits for the clients and prospects, the reality was way uglier than that. Like literally, most of the companies have lower than 1%, and it's considered normal. Moreover, we've been working with consultants who are delivering exactly same results. And this was the whole foundation of us doing those growth audits. And the gap between where you think you are and where you actually are is that real problem. That this is the gap. And you might think that, doing some actions might bring you some results, but it's literally like going to the gym thinking that you can now press 200 pounds just because some guy told you, oh, this is the average, and then you cannot really press those 200. And when you try, the bar is not lifted, and basically the outreach benchmark is the same illusion. And it's exactly how the whole thing works. So the way out isn't sending out more emails. It's sending smarter emails. And AI, it can get you reach, but psychology, this is what gets you replies. Psychology frameworks, this is what you have to lead with. Always win in teams. Don't put AI against humans, because human component is really important. They use AI for timing. Obviously, it's efficient, and they use it for research. Tools like Clay, obviously, replacing data analysts. Another layer obviously can be data analysts, but how many days it's going to take you? Nowadays, free Perplexity gives me leads or list of leads. I'm just giving it sales navigator filters. Like, you don't have to invest a lot right now to get more efficient and more precise with your targeting. And humans obviously, finish the layer with trust and closing. So belief-driven, personalized messages, this is what makes the difference. One client switched from generic AI blast to intent-based triggers, and the emails went out right after, say, like visits of the website, funding announcements. The reply tripled within a week. And I'm more of a fan of making the entire message AI generated. So AI does the research, AI writes the copy, obviously based on the framework that you give it. Open with a hook, add the credibility. What are your key sales points? What's your call to action? Have the framework based on the psychology, based on the loss aversion, based on the objection handling bullets that you build out before in your ideal customer profile document. All these things will lead you to better results. So just adjusting the framework can, avoid this emotionless, responseless outreach. So just talking about the generic hooks, buyers don't really buy it anymore. Like, we see it all the time. You open your inbox, like, how many minutes a day do you spend on cleaning up your inbox? They spot these generic hooks like instantly. And I still see, hope this finds you well. It's like literally kiss of death. I still see those emails. So as soon as they see this, obviously delete, because the 4 first words is what they see on mobile. The prospect sees first 4 words of your subject, first 4 words of your email, and this is why they don't open it, because there's no interest built into the copy. Another thing is sending the emails at the wrong time zones. There's no buyer signal. It's all just noise sent out, just hoping that one day it's gonna turn into something. So use intent triggers, site visits, hiring, funding. Create the funnels around your email. Example: I got an email earlier today from Hermosi. Very funny, because last week he was doing his book launch. I unsubscribed. Obviously, Layla Hermosi then reached out to me. Then afterwards, like, he's reaching out to me with a new email. I unsubscribed 3 times. This guy really has the balls to follow you around, doesn't he? So I got this email earlier from him, and the email was leading me to his video sales letter, which was hosted on the landing page. And in that landing page, obviously, there was a video of Hermosi that was sort of converting me into the workshop that he's doing in Las Vegas next week. Very simple funnel, but that's just an example of how you could utilize the email campaigns. He knows that I'm a founder. He knows that there is an intent. He sends me a click through, literally 2 clicks, separating me from purchasing. This is just an example of how you can use it. So AI kills trust. It's not a huge discovery. 89% of prospects know exactly how the AI email sounds on the second word. And trust is literally the only shortcut to conversion, especially right now. Trust is everything. And I think it's very important to inject those quirks, those proofs, the context, be highly personalized in every single email. And do not overuse AI, especially right now. Like 77% of marketers use AI for content creation. That's 77% on paper. Right now, I believe it's like 99.9. So this is the first thing. Another thing, spam filters also got way smarter. If you are going to overuse AI, you're going to harm your brand. Your emails are going to end up in a spam folder. Like, we had this client who insisted on volume over timing. 20,000 emails later, 0 deals. So they ended up in the spam. There was no AI personalization. Obviously, we saved some budget on AI activities, but it didn't yield anything. So after shifting to a simple event-based triggers, they closed 2 high-value enterprise contracts within next 30 days. Huge outliers, great success, big luck. But the event-based triggers, a simple way of literally spotting, like, for example, I'm going to an event. There's like a conference in San Francisco next week. I'm going there. So I'm going to find all the founders or everyone who's falling under my ideal customer profile. I'm going to find them, tagging this specific event on their website, in their blogs, in their LinkedIn, using AI research. This is an intent for you. So this is just a simple example. The longer you ignore the flaws, the worse is the snowball, and the open rates die, the spam flags rise, and it all collapses in the end. And once you harm your domain reputation, it lowers, and it literally takes months to fix it. While your competitors are actually still in the market and they're doing the right thing. So one company actually kept busting, and their emails started to land and being auto-routed into the spam folder. It took them, like, even those warm leads that they were talking to, like normal direct conversation, ended up in spam folders. And it all was the volume game, again, which we were playing 6 years ago, not anymore. The guys, they didn't transition from the domain, and it took them 4 months to recover their sender score. 4 months of pipeline literally gone. So this is just some simple examples of how it could look like. And for those of you who don't want to buy and burn another dollar, I built this 55 cheat codes for copywriting emails, templates, power words, psychological triggers, all of this, kind of like gathered from battle-tested 7-figure campaigns that I've been running, and you'll get them free. I'll send it to you within the next 24 hours, but obviously only if you attended the webinar. So if you want to get more information, like, this all isn't a theory, it's all the playbooks that turned failed campaigns into over $50 million of the pipeline, and like 55 cheat codes are in your inbox. But if you want to multiply, and if you want to get to understand the frameworks a little bit more, clay templates and things like that, easy, just shoot me a message. I can share a bit more about those frameworks. So yeah, I'm going to open the floor for questions. If you want to unmute yourself or send the message in the chat, feel free to do so. I always keep the webinar super short because I know everyone is busy. I'm busy too. So if you have any questions about email marketing, about outreach marketing in general, feel free to drop that in the text box that we have here. And yeah, I'm happy to.
Can I just say my question?
Hi, Alex.
Hi. There was a guy that approached me and did a test campaign for email marketing. He said that he would do everything for free and send an email, like set up a system where he uses Amplify. I can't remember which one. Amplify.
Yeah.
He uses a combination of that, ChatGPT for writing the copy, and then Lindy for doing the sending. And he said, like, he sold me this dream on AI outbound, basically, and said, I'll set this up for you for free. You'll see it works, and then we can talk about you paying me after. So I said, okay, fine, sounds good. It's free. What harm can it do? And he said he'll send 500 an email to 500 prospects, and he did like 6 follow-ups, which was super aggressive, I thought, and all sent like one day after another. And then he targeted, like, we focus on the solar niche. He targeted only solar installers, and the results came back with like one person responding saying, yeah, give me a call.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's like the offer or the copy, but looking at it, it did look like it did take data from their LinkedIn and say, hey, like, hey, saw you recently posted about this thing, and then it would, but it just sounded like no one would really type what it was typing. Like, it was a bit like corny, I'd say, like the copy kind of. Maybe the prompts were off, I don't know, but it just was written in a kind of a weird way. But the whole thing, like, it just felt like the results were so bad, to get only one response that was like, yeah, sure, give me a call. All the other replies were basically go away or just nothing. And I don't think he never gave me like the actual deliverability metrics as well. So, but that's what this comes down to is like when you said AI, be careful using AI. Like obviously it's nice to do the personalization, but what he was saying is he wants to build a system that's like 10,000 emails a month kind of a thing. But are you saying like don't do that? Go small lists, use AI for the research, but like write the copy a bit like uh, a bit more manually? I don't know. Like is that what you're saying?
So let me ask you the question. What was the first step of the agency or consultant that you approached? What was the first step of the whole engagement?
He basically made me fill out a form that had who we're targeting, who's our ICP, what is our offer,
Okay.
and he kind of handled the rest. It was a bit too hands off, if you ask me. But yeah, that was basically it. Fill out a Google Doc. Yeah.
Okay. So Alex, first of all, appreciate you sharing your experience. It's just that I personally think that AI is not yet there to handle the entire end-to-end. I know there are tools like Artisan and AI SDR, and they, every other week they have some other things that are coming out. I don't think AI is there necessarily to analyze the entire thing and then build out the entire outreach without sounding generic, because the frameworks behind the copies are not necessarily prompted or scripted right. And obviously, even with a human tweak, it all sounds the same. So the first thing that I would personally recommend doing is keeping the copy short, 120 symbols, like obviously make sure that it is outcome driven. So analyze the copy. It sounds like the targeted list was on point, but are you targeting the right titles? Are you speaking into the specific pain of those prospects? So that's all about the copy, right? And one person out of 500 doesn't sound promising. Perhaps your deliverability was an issue, so you need to make sure that everything that was sent landed into the inbox. Was it email or was it an email campaign?
Sorry, yeah, it was email, all email, just email.
Perfect. So basically, make sure that your domain doesn't suffer with deliverability. Check the stats. So you do need to track those KPIs. You do need to have the visibility at those dashboards. I would recommend highly to get the copy ran through AI research. So literally every single sentence of your email, and that's 120 symbols, have to be tailored for your specific prospect. So I know that the copy might be potentially good, like outcome driven and everything. The list is good already. Okay, we tick that off. But if you're sending the same email to every single one, it's still going to sound generic and it's not going to convert necessarily. So you might want to explore jumping out clay, or you might want to work on that list of 500 prospects with a data analyst. My recommendation, just open with something very compelling, very personalized. I understand, like, I was talking about generic stuff like events or funding or triggered based on the website visits, but think about something creative. Like what is the day-to-day of your prospect? Are they like solar? Are they talking about kilowatts? Or can you make a compliment on their founded story? Can you mention the name that you both might potentially know of the co-founder? So think a bit more creative and have AI do the research, and then make sure that this research applies to every single message, and then every single message is tailored. And then once it's tailored, it also follows the framework that is set for conversion. So hook, credibility, selling points, potential guarantee. If you're using guarantees and it helps you convert, if it doesn't help you convert, no, don't use that. And then obviously call to action. But with a call to action also, we've seen that instead of saying want to jump on a call, would it be okay if I send you an invite and stuff like that? It works much better than a direct stuff. Links don't work. So, obviously don't send any calendar links. So things like that. It's a huge red flag if your provider doesn't show you the stats. I would recommend looking there because data talks. You can't make any decisions on how to adjust your campaign without the data. But it all sounds really straightforward. Just add an additional layer of AI. Yes, it might be a little bit more expensive, but what's the ROI? And what's currently cost per lead? If out of 500, you're getting one booked call on the campaign, and how much of that is going to be converting? That's the real question. Does that help?
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you. That's clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
No worries. I have a question.
Hi, Chase.
Hi, everybody. There's a balance between sending off like a big blast of, obviously AI generated content to 500 people, and then going through every single prospect and doing, some kind of background information on them. Obviously, the more you know about them, the more fine your initial hook and sales pitch can be. But like, what's the balance? But like, how granular should you be? Because obviously one is time consuming and one isn't, and you want to strike a balance between quality and quantity. Like, how exactly do you find that balance?
So like from our perspective, that's just like on the research, we do use like typically the first layer is AI, and then the next layer is the data analyst who checks the list, because sometimes AI hallucinates. And with the first, the matter is about the spend. It's expensive. Like Clay that we are using personally is an expensive tool, so you want to keep it like to a couple of rows. A typical flow that I would recommend, and that's like one of the most generic ones, is just to conduct the research in the company where the triggers are something that obviously like everyone here has that different ideal customer profile, something that will help you to get them into the pain state, right? Like something that will help, will tell you about their recent product growth or product launch, or about the funding as well. Obviously, something that tells you that they are ready to buy. And once you do that research, like AI can do it really quick, or certain signals that you can tell your data analyst, if you're not using the AI layer, to look out for. And then that's one table in your CSV, Excel file, or wherever you're tracking the data. And based on that research, you already have, say, 3 data points. You then can organize the second table, where it either going to be analyzing the initial research and then tell you, additional couple of data points that you can include in your copy. That's already like, a personalized first sentence. Like, for example, Chase, I see that you launched this product. What a beautiful story you have about launching it, and something like, that you can scrape potentially from their LinkedIn or website. That already feels so familiar, so close to my heart, that I will be very grateful for that research and that you actually took time. And it's much better to launch smaller lists. Like 500 is small already. If we're using, manual approach, 200 is fine. But have a highly personalized first message. Have 3 key components that you've scraped from LinkedIn, scraped from website, or you really identify those based on the campaign, and then include them in a copy. Another way of doing it, if you don't want to spend your time on data research and things like that, I would recommend building up the funnel. It's like so classic. Every time I'm speaking about outreach campaigns, everything I see is funnels. So like I've mentioned, Hormozy's one, literally just received the email. So if you're subscribed, you should have received it as well. Don't think just about this email that you're sending out. Definitely, Alex, back to your point, do not do 6 follow-ups. Like, don't. People see your email, they probably tagged you as spam, they didn't reply. 1, 2, 3 follow-up maximum. I just stopped doing follow-ups altogether. it really doesn't make any difference. Like we didn't see any conversion increase from the follow-ups. Think about the funnels. So you think think of the user experience, the prospect experience that you are targeting, right? They're landing into the email, and what do they see? Do you give them any value, or you're pitching them? Why would I buy your product if you send me a two-liner? Yes, maybe that's personalized, that sparked the conversation, but that first sentence should be so data-packed, outcome-driven, and value-packed that it really makes me reply back, right? And nowadays, it's all based on trust and relationships. So you want to include some value, share something that will benefit the business, like a checklist, like some statistics that are interested, maybe a webinar, maybe you just connect and invite them to an event, things like that. Or you are directing them to your landing page, and on the landing page they can already assist themselves into booking a call with you. So or a video sales letter. So it's all about the funnels. And for example, if email doesn't convert and you've already tried personalizing the first sentence, another way would be building the omni-channel campaign. So you have the list of 200 to 500 prospects. And I'm really not a fan of spamming thousands of contacts unless you have a really thorough and good approach to it. It's just basically spamming people, right? It's not that good. So you can have an omnichannel approach where you're having a contact, send them an email, no reply on an email. Obviously, the system is tracking it. Retarget them with a LinkedIn invitation. Once you invited them, like a post, share something with them. A beautiful article that you just read on something that's relevant to your industry or their industry because you understand your ideal customer profile. Then what else can we do? Then you added them in the LinkedIn, and then between those two, you can also add a cold call. So you picking up the phone and you're calling them and you're saying, "Hey, Chase, is it you? How are you? I've been running this free growth audits. Do you want one? Because if you do, I can send it to you within less than 24 hours. And if they don't pick up the phone again, you're reconnecting them with another email saying, like, I really was trying to connect with you. We have 50 people in common. I don't understand what's going on. I really want to talk to you. So like this is just a quick example. And then you can build up the landing pages, sell courses, offer books, like all these things. And it all starts with a system. So I use Lucid Charts just to visualize it. There are a bunch of tools, right? Build out each step, and the email is going to be one of them. That's all about the funnels. You build one funnel, you strategize on it for the next 30 days. You see that it's going to give you returns combined with those personalized approaches for email outreach. A bit went off topic, but I hope kind of striked a little bit of creativity there. Was it helpful?
Yes. Thank you so much. That was helpful. The pipeline. Got to get that pipeline.
Yeah, honestly, and it's all about understanding your ideal customer profile. We're using the GRASP framework, so it's really understanding the goals, the roadblocks, why potentially the customer is not buying. And I was earlier working on FAQs and like even in the potential questions that the buyer is asking, just understand the objections that could potentially come up. And if you could even address it in your headline and in your offer, like, there was an example of the hotel that we're working with too far away from the center, add, just 20 minutes from the city center in your headline, and you will literally eliminate half of the objections that are coming about the distance. So just simple things like that, they really matter. And obviously no additional spend involved in it.